Okay, everybody, as I promised earlier, I'm going to do a video for everyone on how to do inter-VLAN routing. We did old school VLAN routing where we had multiple VLANs plugging into multiple ports on the router. And then we did routing on a stick using trunking and sub-interfaces to a router. And I said that I wanted to show everybody how to do a inter-VLAN routing by using a multi-layer switch. So I have some of the network already set up for us here. We have our internet access here set at 209.165.200.226. We have a DNS server here. He's at 10.1.1.10, and we have a PC5 on VLAN 30, a PC4 on VLAN 20. And PC 0 here on VLAN 10, and they're all subnetted using a 255.255.224.0 network. So let's go ahead and build this network up. First thing we're going to do is you can avoid all the routers. We're not using routers in this gambit, so let's go to our switches. Let's grab a 3650 switch, put that up here. This is going to be our switch we're going to use to communicate to everybody. So let's just call it a multi-layer switch. All right. Next, we want to put in a regular old like 2950, 2960 switch. No big deal. Just a regular plain old layer 2 switch. Okay. Next thing we're going to do, first thing we're going to do, get on our switch, and we're going to do all the basics that we would normally do on a switch. Let's go ahead and fast forward time on that bad boy. All right, press turn to get started. And it's going to enable, going to configure T. Let's go through all the basics that we expect to have on all of our switches, okay? First off, change your host name from the default. We're just going to call this guy S1. We're going to create a banner MOTD to keep people off of our network. Say when they try to get on, we'll say get out, right? Next thing I want to do is I want to create a username and password. Well, first we'll do our enable secret. When you're ever doing anything in the classroom, we want to make sure we make that password class, okay? And then we're going to do a username admin, password Cisco. Okay, if you're ever doing anything in the classroom, if you want me to be able to check your work, I need to know what your passwords are. So we're just going to go with the default ones that we always use here. We want to set up SSH here is what we're doing. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do our crypto key, generate, learn how to type, RSA. Nope, my bad. We have to do our IP domain dash name. We're just going to call it cnt.org, okay? Then we're going to generate our crypto keys. We're going to use 1024, not settle for the default. And now that is all set. Now we're going to jump over to our line, VTY 0 space 15. We're going to do a transport input SSH. All right, and then tell it to use the username and password that we just created, login local. All right, now we want to create the different VLANs we're going to have on our network. We have a VLAN 10, VLAN 20, and VLAN 30. So we're going to go ahead, and I also like to do a native VLAN. Because we're a Cisco Academy, we like to stick with what Cisco likes to do. So we're going to go ahead and take care of that as well. We're going to create a VLAN called 99 on here. So right out of the gate, let's do the first VLAN, VLAN 10. Let's name it staff. VLAN 20, name it student. And VLAN 30, we're going to name that one faculty. Okay. So we're just doing the same thing we did in the other labs. Okay. Oh, my bad. Just lost my map. Here we go. Back on our switch here, and now we're going to assign some ports. So we'll go to interface range FA0/1 all the way to 5. And we're going to put you in VLAN 10. Next, we're going to do interface range FA0/6 all the way to 10. And we're going to make you an access port. And then put you into VLAN 20. You got to actually tell it to access it though. There we go. And then we'll do interface FA0/11 all the way to 15. To range. And then we're going to say switch port mode. And you got to learn how to spell. And then switch port access VLAN 30. Next, we're going to create a trunk port. So we're going to go into the interface of FA0/24. Actually, this one here has a gigabit port, I believe. Let's do a show. Yeah, these guys have a G02 port, so we're going to use these. So it's going to interface G0/2, switch port mode trunk, and then we're going to make it the native VLAN. Okay, so we're going to specify that it is the switch port trunk native VLAN 99. So now if I do a show VLAN brief, you can see, let me make it a little wider, make it easier to read. Okay, you can see that ports 1 through 5 are in VLAN 10, the staff VLAN. 6 through 10 are in the student VLAN, and 11 through 15 are in the faculty VLAN. And we have a VLAN 99 created, which is my native VLAN right now. Okay. If we do a show interfaces trunk, okay, you won't see anything yet because the trunk is not activated. So G02 is still residing in here, but if I do a show run, you can see that G02 is a trunk. Okay, it's in VLAN 99, and it'll leave VLAN 1 once we decide to actually cable that thing up. So let's go ahead and run some cables. Okay, so let's put PC 0. Let's put him in VLAN 10. Let's put PC 4 here. Let's knock him and put him into VLAN 20. VLAN 30 for this guy here. And he goes in 11. So now they're all in there. We're going to go into our G02 and we're going to plug him in. Let's put him right at the very beginning of our piece here. We'll put him at 01. Now, as you can see, it's currently down right now because we have to code this thing up yet. Okay, so right now it's just a straight through cable running right into that piece right there. Okay, so let's go ahead into our layer 3 switch now. Okay, let's go and bring him up, and the layer 3 switch is not turned on. Layer 3 switch, you actually have to put the plugging piece in. Okay, so now it's booting up. So let's go ahead and fast forward time a little bit. You can see now our trunk line is coming up because we have electricity to it. Go into our CLI, and right now everything over here is VLAN 1. And if you remember, our trunk is VLAN 99. So we have an inconsistent port configuration going on right now. So let's go to, I'm going to get into the configuration dialog, get into enable. We're going to do a config T, and we're going to do a host name command, and we're just going to call this MLS, because it's our multi-layer switch. That's easy enough for now. Let's get this error message out of our way early so it doesn't keep interrupting the rest of the work that we're going to be doing here. Okay, so we're going to turn the interface port here, G101, we're going to turn that into a trunk port first. Now, the thing about trunks on multi-layer switches, they're by default, okay, set to auto, okay, because they're running DTP. So we're going to take it off of DTP, and we're going to make it a static trunk, which means we're going to encapsulate this port to use the .1Q protocol. So interface G1/0/1, and now we're going to say switch port trunk encapsulation .1Q. Okay, so now this guy here is actually part of, it's now a trunk. Now it's still going to be having an error, but at least now it's part of a trunk. So now we're going to say switch port trunk native VLAN 99, and it should come up saying the port consistency has been restored. Now they're both on the same VLAN. The native VLAN's been fixed. Okay, so now that's going to be enabled for it to come alive, so to speak. Okay, and you can see now that it's also turned green over here. Now, unlike in layer 2 switching, with layer 3, I don't have to go and assign a bunch of ports, okay, to my VLANs to make them route. All I got to do, okay, so let's get out of this mode here. We're going to create the VLANs just like we did down below. So we're going to say VLAN 10, name, staff. VLAN 20, name, student. VLAN 30, name, faculty. Enter. It's all you got to do. Okay. Now, but the big difference is, if you remember when we did the InterVlan routing on a stick on a router, we had to go into the router, take up that interface, assign no IP address to it, then we had to create sub interfaces, tag those sub interfaces to the VLANs. On layer 3 switching, all we have to do is go into the interface of VLAN 10. We'll do an IP address of 172.16.32.1 with a subnet mask of 255.255.224.0. Okay, so now that guy can talk to him. Let's go to interface VLAN 20. IP address 172.16.64.1. Subnet mask 255.255.224.0. Then we'll do interface VLAN 30. Do the same thing. IP address 172.16.96.1. Subnet mask 255.255.224.0. We hit enter. And now we have 3 virtual VLANs assigned, not wasting any of the ports that are in that switch either. We can use those for other items, okay? The next thing we want to do, okay, is we want to set up our connection between the multi-layer switch and the company internet server, okay? Now, it's a layer 3 switch, so we have the ability to actually assign IP addresses to a port itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into the interface of G1/0/24. We're going to use the one on the other end of that switch, okay? And we're going to then, we have to turn off the fact that it's a switch, okay? So we're going to say no switch port. So now I can say IP address, and we want it to be on the same subnet as this guy. So he's 209.165.200.226. They're on a 252 subnet, okay? So IP address 209.165.200.225 with a subnet mask of 255.255.255.252. Okay, so now they should be able to communicate with each other once we plug them in. Okay, let's go ahead and do that just to test things out. So we're going to grab a straight through cable. We're going to plug him into G1024. Plug him in over here to Fast Ethernet 0. Okay, came up nice and fast. What we want to do, make sure it worked. We're going to go ahead and we're going to ping from the router 209.165.200.226. Okay, and if I programmed it right, and I did, right there, you'll see we had success. It went across, no problems. Okay, so now we have connectivity to where the internet should be. Okay, next we want to set it up so that we have a DNS server over here so that these guys here can use the company DNS server. So we're going to plug the DNS server, okay, into, let's plug it into, say, this guy here is in 24. We'll plug him into 23. So let's go ahead and grab a straight through cable, okay, and we're going to plug him into G1023, plug him into Fast Ethernet 0. All right, we're going to go back up here. We're going to program this guy. So we're going to say interface G10/0/23. Get into that interface mode. Okay, I have a typo in here. Config T. Interface G1/0/23. Now we're gonna turn this off. We want hit this port right here. We don't need to create a whole separate VLAN. This is the only guy who's going to be on this one for now. So I'm just going to statically assign that port there. So I'm going to turn off the switch port. So I'm going to say no switch port. Then I'm going to assign it an IP address of IP add. Okay, 10.1.1.1 with a 255.0.0.0 subnet. Okay. So now this guy here should be able to ping this guy here. Okay? This guy here, they should all be able to ping each other, right? Let's see. If that's the case, let's go ahead and see if we can ping our neighbor at 64.10. Okay, so 172.16.64.10. Taking a little longer than we expected. Okay, we configured the IP addresses, but we missed one important crucial step. It's the easiest thing you get to type. Okay, we want to enable the ability for this. Remember, he's just a switch. He's a switch that allowed us to put IP addresses on him. Okay, we have to enable routing. And if we were doing IP version 6, we would have to enable IP unicast routing. That's all. So it's IPv6 unicast routing. It's all you have to enable on that one. So now, when I come over here, I should be able to come up to the switch and then back down and ping those devices. Also, if I go back to my configurations here, so on PC4, okay, PC4 doesn't have a DNS server set up, so we'll go to 10.1.1.10, which is the address of our DNS server, okay. Our DNS server is 10.1.1.10. At least I hope it is after I type that in there. Let's go ahead here, put a label in. Oh, there it is. Label in 10.1.1.10. There we go. Now we're back there. Okay. So now I come over here, command prompt, and let's see here. Can we ping 10.1.1.10? And we can, okay? So now the next important thing is, if that's my DNS server, can I go to www.cnt.org, which happens to be over here outside of my network. And as you can see, we can. So that was a nice quick tutorial for you on how to do a multi-layer switch. I had a fun time getting all the kinks worked out of it and then being able to show you how to do it. As you can see, it's as easy, if not easier, than doing routing on a stick. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it.